Hey, good morning. What's up? It was time for me to take a little bit of a break from my cage building action, have a little bit of coffee, and I thought I would hang out with you guys for a little bit. And I'd been thinking a lot. I was watching the news and probably watching too much news. If you're watching too much news, really the only things you should be watching is the weather at this point. That's where it's at. And not even the local channels. Gosh, I have to go onto YouTube to find real news anymore, weather, any of that kind of stuff. I have to bounce all over the place to actually find out what's going on. So I might have actually said rain enough times. It could be like Beetlejuice, where you say it enough and it's coming. So looks like we're supposed to be getting a little bit of rain. I'm super excited for that. So shout out to the rainmakers. Let it come. Got my trash can off to the side over here. Hopefully I can collect a little rainwater. Anyways, so just been doing a lot of this work outside. For those of you that are new or just found me on this channel, hi, my name is Stacy and I have a nonprofit. It's called the Desert Nature Alliance. And normally I'm not doing this kind of stuff. If you look back on the channel, a ton of videos are about just animals, little shorts from animals, little clips from the property around here. But lately I've been doing some work because I've been trying to grow some vegetables. And you can go back to the other videos and check it out. And I talk about why I'm doing all this. It's because of all the wild animals. I've also got a couple really big events that we're getting ready to be presenting at. One for the city of Chandler and one for the city of Fountain Hills. And so a lot of times I need my brain to just kind of let go so I can think about what we're going to present, how we're going to, all of it, because I'm the one that creates all of the skeletons and the stuff that we bring. Again, if that sounds weird to you and you're like, skeletons, you need to go back on the channel. I do a lot of articulation, bones and the animals, things that I find out here. I have turned into exhibits that I take to STEM events, different, whether it's at for a city event like we're getting ready to do for a couple of those. We've been to college events, school events, all that kind of stuff. And so it's become pretty elaborate as I've moved on, and now certain places are asking us in particular to come because of some of the skeletons that I've created. The bat skeletons that I've been able to create in collaboration with Arizona Bat Rescue. And that's because we make sure that they're safe and all those kind of things. They're beautiful. I don't know how I had the talent to do it, but yes, we have articulated bat skeletons now that we take out to different places, or Hallie takes out for Arizona Bat Rescue. So shout out to them. So I was just thinking back to last time that I had seen her. I love doing events next to them because of they'll have like the live bats, and sometimes we'll have our skeletons, and it's just great being next to them. But we all do these events and go to these different places, and you'd think that you get received well everywhere, and you don't. I had always assumed that because Hallie had such amazing bats that she was bringing to places that people would receive her really well, and it was just me that maybe was getting negative. And so I had a long talk with her last time that we were together, and it was really good. It really helped me out, and so that's what I thought I'm going to help share with anybody that's out there that is starting to do any of these school events, or trying to put on any kind of education or a table kind of exhibit for these large, whether, like I said, whether it's for a city or it's for a school event kind of thing. It's not as easy as it might look. I'm gonna take my jacket off and believe it or not, I'm actually getting warm. I'm kind of bundled up out here because of the work I'm doing. This metal stuff is awful. This metal mesh wire stuff that I'm using just scratches the crap out of you. It's pretty much awful. God, here we go. Fat girl in a little coconut. All right. Anyway, okay. Anyways, so last big event that we did, or actually I should say I did, I went to an event by myself down in Tucson, which was about a 4-hour round trip drive, which was probably too much to begin with. That was a lot. So I was a little stressed, and I had been stressed about the message that I was going to give. And not that it was controversial or anything like that, but it just felt like was I offering information that was at the right education level that I was supposed to be. And so you're like, what are you talking about? Well, if you've seen any of the videos or go back to the videos, I was really working on the food chain. And back in November, I want to say it was even right before that, McDonald's had a problem with onions. Raw onions were causing people to get sick, if not no longer exist. I don't know what YouTube allows us to say. Violently ill from onions. And so the question that I was posing from everyone really, and I wanted to keep posting, and now that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it too, is how do you know what's safe? Now this is back in October, and I always try to stay, like I said, in the realm that I belong in. The Desert Nature Alliance design was to have people fall in love with the desert and the animals and the nature that I was surrounding, and in the hopes that they would help protect it along with me, and maybe have that different awareness wherever you live, right? And we could share. There's a lot of people that'll never get to the desert, and this is a great way for me to show them, you know, what's out here. So I have to be specific on my messaging and why. The food chain is super important, and we're seeing that now. It doesn't take much to destroy part of your food chain. So I wanted to, I really didn't know what the students now are learning, where the gaps are. I always say we have Swiss cheese holes in a lot of our education, so you're never sure who knows what. All of the information that I always put out there, I learned through the Phoenix Zoo, that you're gonna see everybody. I used to work for the Phoenix Zoo, and I used to do a lot of this type of talking where you're out in front of large groups, and so it's anything from somebody's grandma all the way down. You don't know who's been to college, you don't know who's ever been to school, you don't even know who's speaking the same language that you are. You have no idea who you're going to see when you're in a very large setting of a city event and that kind of thing. So you need to make sure that your message is clear and easy enough for everyone to understand. So for the most part I do, but when we attend these STEM events, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, I like to say it's STEAM, it's science, technology, engineering, art, and math, because I wouldn't be able to do any of what I'm doing if I didn't have the art background that I have. Then I met other people who are like, it's actually STREAM. You need to add your reading in there. You wouldn't be able to get through any of it if you couldn't read, right? So that's really, when we go to these events, a lot of it is for the technology. And I love to show the girls that yes, we can be involved in this in all kinds of different ways, and don't let the word science like scare you off, right? So I try to come up with fun topics that we're gonna be working on. So for this one, I said it's the food chain, and I actually have turkey vulture in my collection. It does not go out very often, but I thought for this event we're going to do it. Going to be at one of the colleges down there. This is a group of kids that have been picked to go to a science event at the college, right? So let's do this. So I had 3 tables set up. Anything from a turkey vulture and the information on pH balance all the way down, because turkey vultures are amazing and projectile vomit and do all kinds of crazy, fully worth talking about, all the way down to rodents, thinking that we could talk about things like the plague and that kind of stuff. What is safe, what is not? How would you know parts of your food chain are safe, and who are the individuals in our society that help us with that? Now this is back in October where I'm coming up with just this talk, because I know I've got to do an event, and like I said, Thanksgiving is coming in, and just trying to keep it pretty safe. Not having any idea that fast forward into March 2025, we are in a full-blown bird flu epidemic. We've got all kinds of other issues, in addition to employees in industries, I don't know how to say this right, federal agencies that protect us with our food safety and other things. So I actually was really on target with my message. I had no idea at the time. Why I'm sharing this with you is because the response from people, anywhere from the students that I was meeting to the teachers, the parents that came along, staff at the college, I had some fantastic conversations that day about everything that was there. I don't want to pigeonhole anyone, because I'm never sure, like I said, what they already know. So I allow these conversations to just happen with all the props and things that I have there. So it just funnels out whatever they're interested in, all of that. So to me, there's no limitations. Set up the tables where, whether you are of this height or you're in a wheelchair or you have any physical issues or you want to touch things, I've really tried to go out of my way, to make sure that's available. So the first group that came up, couldn't have asked for any better of a response. They were on message immediately, understood what I was talking about, where I was going with, and different words and phrases were coming out that I would expect to hear. Like I'd expect to hear a little bit about the plague, or why you wouldn't eat a rat initially, or why it wouldn't be safe. And so I felt like, okay, good, I've got this. until the next group comes up. And so that's what's amazing about when you do these large events. You're going to see 1,000 people possibly. So just because one or two people love what you do doesn't mean the next group isn't going to look at you, roll their eyes, and completely walk on by. Rejection is huge at these kind of events, and so I had to really understand that. I learned that from lots of things in my life. Been rejected a lot in my life. Not a problem. Been made fun of, all those things, and so I'm okay with, people will come up with whatever and go by. And some people are so amazed and enthralled with what I have. They're like, I don't want to leave. This is the coolest thing ever. So few groups in, and I want to say this group was maybe like 9th grade is what I'm gonna guess, age ranging, and rambunctious and running around, and we're outside. These are tables that are outside in the college setting. There's all kinds of stuff. There's no controlling what's gonna happen. It just seems to be like groups that come up at you. Group comes running up and they want to know what I've got, and it's kind of like wrangling cats at this point. They're all over. They're not really overly paying that kind of attention. So I don't know how to give my message. I don't know who I'm even giving it to. So I bring them down to the end of the tables where I have the I think it's a skeleton of a rat is what I have, and asked anybody if they knew what it was. And there's still a lot of clowning going on, and if they would eat one, and why or why not would you eat a rat? And the best response that we got was because it didn't have enough meat on it. There didn't seem to be much of an awareness of a safety of it or why. And that's what I asked them, is it safe to eat? And they're like, I guess if you cook it or whatever. There was such a disconnect. Was it because there was other things going on? It could be, but that seemed to be really more of the conversations that I had later and later. I couldn't get a lot of the students or even the adults to understand how do you know that your food is safe? Can you tell just by looking at something or just by tasting something? Because that doesn't technically work. And I'm in a science environment hoping that continues to stem or spark things. But I'm just watching it pass by. So I'm a little lost on where to go with this group. And so I said, okay, does anybody know the name of the groups or I forgot exactly the words that I was using. I'm kind of stumbling on it this morning. The government agencies that make sure that your food's safe. Do you know who those people are? And one of the girls raises her hand. I do. I'm like, awesome. Who is it? And she's like, it's the CIA. Okay, I'm sure I made that face. Other kids laughed. And I really just didn't even know where to go anymore with the safety conversation. And so they kind of just left me. One of the adults looked and he's like, so is that it? I said, I guess so. And I just I gave up on that group and let the next group go on by and had more conversations about different things of the understanding of, is something safe, is it not safe? Why can a turkey vulture eat something that would possibly kill me? All the different things that I thought that science was related to. But what I think is really important right now is that we don't attack the science that's going to keep us all safe in the food chains. Most of us don't have the background, the college, the education, the discipline that it takes to be a scientist that would be able to test and find out if something had E. coli or bacteria or all those other things. To watch any of these people lose jobs indiscriminately is terrifying. And I want us to all have a more of an understanding that you're really, every time you put something in your mouth, you're putting your life at risk or your family's life at risk if we don't make sure that all the testing stays in place. How simple, how easy it would be to harm somebody if there was no testing, or harm a lot of people if there weren't the testing that we have in place. That's why we have them in place, and that's why the science community is so important. And this community doesn't have a specific look or face or anything else to it. It's just those of us who naturally draw to the questions and the answers and the nature and that lane. And so it's men and women and all the colors of hair and all the colors of everything and all the ages, and it's a science community. It's a community that I'm supporting. And I may not have a strong science background. They put me in front of a microscope once at the zoo and I was like, oh, okay, this is not for me. There's other lanes in science that we all can support, and I show that all the time. So the wind's picking up, so time for me to stop talking, but you know what I'm getting at. safety of what we're eating is important, and the tone of the conversation is important, and watching your weather is important. Shout out to Max Velocity. If anybody's watched this far, let them know. Thank you for giving us real weather, because my weather never lets me know what's actually happening out here. So, time to get back to work. Done with the musings. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Bye.